Advanced modeling tools. Previously, we took a look at basic modeling tools, the essentials you need to get started. As you progress and you get better and you start building bigger projects, you're going to need more advanced tools. So let's take a look at a few of those right now. The most basic of all the advanced tools would be a metal straight edge. Now, I have a few of them here. They come in different sizes. I have a small one, I have a 6-inch, and then I have a regular 12-inch rule. The metal straight edge is used not so much for measuring, but for cutting. In other words, if I take a piece of masking tape and put it on my sheet here or on my board, I can take the metal edge, line it up, and cut different sizes of strips in the masking tape. So, metal straight edge, come in different sizes. I have a nice 90-degree from Zona. This is great. The other measuring tool we have here are vernier calipers. This is a set of manuals from NK. I also have my own digital calipers here. And what do you use calipers for? They're mainly for measuring. You're going to want to use them to measure for decal sheets and for masking tape and so forth. So the calipers will measure the outside diameter of a part. They will measure the inside diameter of a part and even the depth of a part. So digital caliper is great for measuring. Straight edge is great for cutting. Masking materials. Masking materials come in really handy and are important as you move along and you start doing more complicated paint schemes. You need to mask things off. My favorite masking tape is from Tamiya. Comes in a dispenser just like this. You just rip a little piece off, use it on your model. They sell refills for the dispensers in different widths. And they also have a really wide roll of tape. Comes in different types. We have vinyl masking tape here. This is got a little bit of give to it, so you can do compound curves and things with it. That's Tamiya masking materials. I also have liquid masker here. And what's liquid masker? Liquid masker is for parts where it's a very complex shape and it's very hard to get the tape to conform to the shape. So what I'll do is I'll do my best to mask the edge with masking tape. Then I take the liquid mask and you brush it on over the rest of the part. Let it dry, and it's just like masking tape. You paint your part and everything peels off. This liquid masker is from ABT. Various other manufacturers make it as well. That's masking materials. Filler putty. Every now and then when you build a model, you'll put the parts together and you'll end up with a seam line that you can't get rid of any other way than to fill it in with a putty and sand it. I have two different types of putty here. I have plastic filler putty here and I have epoxy putty over here. So what's the difference? The filler putties are used for small seams and scratches and things like that on the surface of your model. There's two different types of that. There is a solvent-based putty like Tamiya's putty and Gunze's Mr. Hobby putty, and you would thin these down if you need to with a solvent, acetone or lacquer thinner or something of that nature. I also have a water-based putty. Deluxe Materials Perfect Plastic Putty smooths down with water, which is really nice. I like this putty a lot. The other putty that I have over here is epoxy putty. Epoxy putty is for large areas and it's also used for sculpting. If you make figures, you can use epoxy putty on an armature, carve it, sculpt it, and so forth. It usually comes in two parts, A and B. Now, when you apply this putty to a plastic part, what's the best way to put it on? Some people use an X-Acto knife, some people use a toothpick. I found another tool that you should have in your tool chest. These are called silicone brushes. These are from AK Interactive. What's special about them? Just the fact that they're made of silicone. The tips on these brushes are solid silicone rubber. Putties don't stick to silicone. Great stuff. What you do is you put your putty out on the table, you get your part, you take some of it on your silicone brush, and you just pull it down along the seam line. And the fact that nothing sticks to silicone keeps the putty smooth as you apply it. So, plastic filler putties, epoxy putty, and silicone brushes for application. So we know that we can cut the parts off the sprues in a kit with sprue cutters and trim them with an X-Acto. But what about cutting other materials? Like if you're using strip stock material that's not in the kit, you need to cut it. How do you do that? I'm going to show you a really great tool that I use all the time. It's called a razor saw. Razor saws come in different sizes. You can see I have really small razor saw blades that'll fit a hobby knife. This is a great little tool. Use it all the time. They come in different widths with handles. These are Zona saws. Zona makes a really great product. Highly recommended. So how do you use these razor saw blades to get good cuts? You would use a miter box. You can get a miter box with your razor saw, or you can get them separately. If you notice, the miter box has 3 different slots in it. In other words, these cutting slots give you a 90-degree cut or a 45-degree cut, or what I believe is a 60-degree here. I could be wrong. So basically you would take your material, place it into the miter box, and then pick the slot you need. If I want to just straight cut, I pick the 90-degree, drop my razor saw in, cut away, and when I'm done, I'll have a nice even cut right there. So a razor saw is a great tool. Last but not least, let's take a look at one of my favorite tools. This is called a pin vise. A pin vise is basically a very small hand drill. You use it with micro drill bits or small drill bits to get in there and open up, say, optional holes for parts on your airplane, or to drill out machine gun barrels or exhaust stubs and things like that. Some of these pin vises come with 2 ends. In other words, one end accommodates smaller drill bits and one end accommodates larger. I personally like Tamiya's pin vise. They have different pin vises for different size drill bits. They have like a fine, this is a fine, there's a medium and a large. Recommend getting yourself a really nice set of drill bits. If you buy a pin vise, this is a great set. It goes from 1/64 up to an 1/8 inch drill bit. I use this set all the time. You can also buy a set of micro drill bits. These come in handy for modeling when you're doing really tight work and it's really small holes. So the pin vise comes in handy. Make sure you get yourself a good one. That's a look at some great advanced tools for scale modeling. Remember, your work is only as good as the tools you use, so make sure you buy good quality tools and keep them in great shape, and you'll do some great scale modeling.